Alright guys, so I finally played Deathloop. I bought the game when it first came out a couple years ago on the PlayStation 5, back when it was a PlayStation 5 exclusive, but it's now on Game Pass. A big, huge win for Game Pass. I was excited to check it out. I've heard mixed reactions to this. It's a Bethesda game, so it has that distinct Bethesda feel, you know, the NPCs, the graphics, the players. Kind of has that weird vibe. They always have those weird, like, neo retro type of vibes where everything kind of like is futuristic but also old looking at the same time. So when you see these environments, you'll see, like, I guess futuristic 1970s nuclear stuff, kind of like what's in Fallout. But Deathloop kind of has its own little vibe. So he plays a character named Colt who's living like a loop, a death loop. Literally, when he dies, the day starts over again, and it's because there's a mystery. You have to find out what's going on. You find out that you're actually the person that set up this death loop. There's a little bit of a story going on with the other rival character in the game, Juliana, and you have to kill 8 of the visionaries that hold the secret to the death loop in the same day. So it's a roguelike game. So you basically play and you get this these materials. You have to first you have to get the ability to save your weapons, save your skills, and save certain things, because if not, when you die, you start over from scratch. So it's like radium. You get the radium in order to save like your guns and your upgrades and stuff like that. You make your character stronger, so that way when you go back in time, you're able to beat the levels a lot easier and easier till you can kill all 8 of the visionaries at once and you break the loop. Simple enough. It's a different way of doing like a rogue type of game where there's like I don't know, like kind of like how Returnal and other games are. Kind of has like that type of vibe. And it's kind of interesting that when this new generation, the next gen, came out, we had a lot of rogue games. I don't know if roguelites, whatever you want to call them, they have like a way of extending the gameplay. Like they have a basic premise of gameplay mechanics, and then they have like a huge roguelite or roguelike mechanic that extends the gameplay and gives like a whole bunch of replay value and stuff. So Deathloop, I gotta say, right off the bat, it kicked my ass. This game was tough. It chewed up my balls and spit them right back in my face and was like, tough shit. You gotta get good when it comes to this game. I gotta tell you, I died so many times. Like, so many times. It controls like any other standard FPS. You have your guns. You could double fist in this one, so you can have dualies, but you have like an item that hacks gun turrets, security cameras, and it comes in handy for, you know, accomplishing different stuff in the game. There's 2 keys. You can go in guns blazing, which makes it really hard. Like, if you want to beat a level, it's more easier to go the stealth route, sneak around, stay out of the eyesight of cameras and guards, because everybody in this game wants to kill you. It's like a cult. Like, Juliana has all the people calling you a traitor because you're like the leader of the LCC and everything like this. And the story's kind of interesting. It's like you're a fugitive that is trying to prevent the death loop and end it, and everybody wants to stay stuck in it. It's like a weird Matrix, John Wick type of vibe, and I dig it. But I gotta tell you guys, if you get frustrated really easy, if you are quick to rage quit when it comes to video games, you will not like Deathloop. You will actually kind of be tired of it really quickly. And there was a couple points where I was getting to that point where I'm like, oh man, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be. But then once you get used to the game, once you get through the loop, even though it makes you start over at square one, it opens up a little bit. Once you get past the initial tutorial and it teaches you the basics of everything, you finally get to select which area you want to go on the island. So you're on a big island and you can choose the time of day that you want to go, because certain characters, certain visionaries only appear at certain times and locations of the day. And it's up to you to kind of like, I guess, strategize where you want to go that day. So obviously you want to start off by picking the easiest opponent, or the opponent that'll give you the most useful skill. Like, there's a skill called Shift that allows you to literally teleport, kind of like a ghost, through certain areas and certain. It just opens up the platforming in this game immensely. So I've looked up a little bit of videos and strategy guides. That's how hard this game is. But it does look like once you start to really level your character up and get used to it, the game just opens up immensely. So do not let the early game of this Deathloop piss you off, because the early game part and chapters is going to make you learn quickly. And I think that challenge was there to just make you understand how this game exactly works. And Returnal did the same thing, although I did rage quit Returnal. But this one, I gave it a shot and I just kept plugging away at it. And eventually I was like, all right, this is pretty legit. So it's an FPS that kind of controls like any other standard one. You have, healing and different options that you can find throughout the area. There's like these fuzz sodas and healing stations, and you got to find batteries. You can set up traps. You can set up distractions. The enemies in this are brutal, and I'm all over the place because this is basically like a first impressions and thoughts, or like a recap of my first experience with Deathloop. And I feel that a lot of you other guys that have played this in the past that may have quit on it will feel relatable. I know there's probably experts up on this video right now watching it and being like, oh my god, you're cringe. And I thought about streaming this, but I know for a fact there'd be so many people out there that would just cringe about how much I was dying. There was one area where I guess you go into like a hangar and the lady's like lowering some dude like in a gas chamber, and the gas comes up, and then if you get seen, a whole bunch of motherfuckers come out, and it's just tough. And at any time, if you have online play enabled, it's like Dark Souls where people can invade your game and attack you. So I turned that son of a bitch off, but the NPC could still play as Juliana and attack you. And there's also 2 different game modes. You can protect the loop, where you play as Juliana, or you can break the loop where you play as the main character, Colt. So it's up to you what you want to do. You can choose one or the other. So that's kind of cool that they have both opposing sides. So the initial premise is pretty interesting. It's kind of bittersweet that this was one of the last games that Bethesda made before this whole Microsoft acquisition made. This was initially going to be just a PS5 exclusive, but now it's on the Xbox, which is pretty good. A lot of Xbox game players didn't get a chance to try it out. I think it's one of the more premium titles. It's available on Game Pass right now. So if you want to play it on Xbox, go at it. I believe this will be part of PlayStation Plus Premium Extra as well, as one of the games in the game catalog, if you would rather play it on PlayStation. So there's 2 different services that are going to have Deathloop available. If you're looking for a game that has a very huge amount of challenge, that has, the basics of any great FPS, Bethesda does great with them and stuff. This is a quality title in my opinion. I just need to get good at it. So I'm going to keep on playing it and playing it and playing it until I figure it out. So that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.